If you know what keeps your customers up late at night, you're going to do very well in this business.
Today on Forged in the Field podcast, we got Ron Fleming, our sales guy at Crop Fertility Services.
Hello, everybody.
Ron, you've been here for
5-6 years.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
I think it's
now.
officially like 5.5.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've known you for quite a while, and actually, your first day, shall we call it, was our first field day.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
So
I drove in all the way from North Dakota to see it.
yeah, because you came actually from managing grocery stores.
Yeah. Yeah. That's where, I've had a lot of odd jobs in my life. I worked at Kmart, and then I frozen pizza manufacturer, and then before I started here, I was doing groceries. And that's kind of like where I learned a lot of logistical work. Particularly, I had a job of writing ads, and so you have to work with vendors to get good ad pricing. And they'll give you a certain amount off if you're on the front page, or maybe they just have a lot of the warehouse and they just want to give it to you. It really just depends. But that was where I learned, like, okay, so I got to make this deal, and then you have to make a big display out of it, so then they can show their bosses that they're trying to.
Oh, in the
needle.
store, have
Yeah.
a display like you see pop cans or pop.
Yeah. The game has even changed a lot since I left it. Like, where now it's like people literally are like renting out spaces. Like, hey, do you want to spend, $500 for this pallet spot? Or, and that really wasn't the case then. But yeah, that was where, you make a deal and you gotta let everyone know, like, hey, you guys gotta order X amount of, whatever, Kraft macaroni and cheese. Because we've got it on for, 2 for $1.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of my first foray into understanding like logistics and inventory management, which ironically helped me out quite a bit in my formative years here with pellet management and just learning all the ins and outs of it that, might go into it. The last thing you need is to pay money to have people come in and be pissed off because you don't have the big thing on the front page.
Yeah.
And so that was a constant struggle, especially with things that weren't in grocery, because then you're dealing with other, department managers. And, it's like, hey, I need you to bring in all this cheese. Oh, I don't think that's going to sell it. Well, it's like, I know it will. Order it. And so that was kind of fun, and then it was also some management skills, and it was a lot of teenagers. Actually, ironically, if you found the right teenagers, they were a lot easier to use or manage than some adults. And when you're like 22 telling a 40-year-old what to do, it puts you in a weird spot. But it's a little bit fake it till you make it, and it's a little bit like unfortunately, this is my job, and you're doing your job, and it's my job to tell you what to do. And I don't want to like pull a power move on you, but we need to get this done because I know that's what we need to get done. And so if you don't like that, there's the road. So it kind of taught me to be a hard ass, and like when I needed to be. I have 2 modes, and it's like fun or it's hard ass. Like I don't have a whole lot of in between there because I like to stay fun all the time, but sometimes you gotta buckle down and get some work done. And so yeah, that's kind of those are pretty formative years for me. I would say everyone should have to do service industry for at least a little bit so you can get yelled at and know what it's like before you start yelling at other people because like your French fry box isn't full enough.
Yeah, right. It just gives you some appreciation. I remember seeing you at the grocery store, and you were always getting 18,000 steps a day.
Oh,
and there was no time to talk for
gosh,
you, which
I was beautiful. Oh, I was so skinny.
Yeah.
Just running around. Oh, this person doesn't know what this like major. I used to be able to, like, the kids would be like, I can't find this. I'm like, all right, $10 says I can find this in 5 seconds or less, and man, I made so much money off those kids. But, it'd be like, hey, this guy's looking for,
you took away like 3 hours worth of their work.
Oh, more than that. We did not pay well. But but no, it was it was fun.
So I think it's kind of neat because you went from like selling the product that actually evolves into the product that you now sell.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I mean, you go from selling food to selling shit, right?
Yeah.
What? I mean, you came into. I don't even know if we had cats on the same continent to herd at that point. When I mean, I remember we were having problem with pellet, understanding our pellet inventory, overselling some years, underselling.
It was just different times of the year we were running into simultaneous problems. I think it was the left hand didn't know what the right hand was doing, and then also there was like just like it was a little bit the Wild West, to be honest.
But you didn't come at all from farming.
No,
There was no agriculture in your background, so you step into this, and this world operates completely unlike the corporate food world.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it was interesting. Like getting into like I mean, when you first talked to me about it, I think because I think I politely rejected you the first time, and it was more of, well, I'm making my bones in the grocery business. I could technically go anywhere. And I was thinking about having a family someday and blah blah blah. And that seemed like quite a risk to me at the time. And then I realized like, you're not actually that much at the grocery business, even if you did become like a store manager. And so it took a little life lessons to learn, like, let's roll this dice.
Coming into CFS, you're not
Oh yeah,
at all a farmer.
so yeah, I mean, I basically just knew you, and I mean, you kept things pretty loosey goosey, and so I really wasn't even sure what my job was. I mean, I knew it was sales, but like how do you do sales? Am I going to be calling people? Am I going to be meeting people? Am I going to be doing this? What's the product I'm even selling?
In like developing as a leader, it's understanding what you want. And like, I'm not a structured person, which you can 100% agree, right?
Yeah.
Like, there was Tina Fey had written one time that like, hey, you've hired the good people and you get out of their way. And I'm like, oh, 100%. Like, exactly. Like, there's hire good people so they know what success is.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. And like, I
Yeah.
didn't provide the support. I didn't do any of that. But, I guess one of the things I remember first is like, one, you were reading all the ag publications you could, ag PhD, watching, like just consuming.
Shout out to the Hefty Boys because they do that egg PhD show, and for a guy who thought that chocolate milk comes from brown cows, like it did help me out a ton. I just understanding what NP and K is, understanding, because I guess I go like my whole thought is I don't have a whole lot of like sales pitchy stuff like, oh, hey there, Scott, how you doing, Scott? Scott, you're great, Scott. Let me tell you, Scott, you're gonna look great with this pile of pellets in your yard. But if you just like understand what you're selling and like understand who, like what you need, there's a pretty famous quote by now about sales is like, if you know what keeps your customers up late at night, you're gonna do very well in this business. So it's about understanding your product. And so, yeah, like those first months, I actually the loosey goosiness of it was in a lot of ways fine because I would just watch like Albert Lee seed like webinars and just like hearing like it was definitely like a fire hose coming at me, but understanding like, oh, like not just yield is important, protein is important. I would have never have guessed that. Like, I vaguely knew, all right, corn, you want as much corn as you can, so you sell it for more money. But like things like protein and, even like NP and K, didn't know what NP and K was. And so that little couple of months where I was kind of watching Matt, also, I like did that sales analysis, which was just something I knew how to do. Like, I was pretty used to doing that from the grocery business. Like, hey, how much money are we actually getting on, margin, all that stuff. That kind of helped me understand the business part of it. And then, like once I think Clarion,
Clarion.
it was a little it was good until it wasn't.
Yeah.
I sold it to a couple of folks. I think we made decent money on the deal, and it really like let me get my feet wet until all of a sudden I was in a lake that was spinning. And so that really did help inform Pellets when I later took those over because it was just a much lower volume and there was a little less like internal pressure to move those, because you've got the pelletizer, you've got the storage and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so that was a nice little tipping off point for me. And, I kind of, I understood it. It was very helpful. Charlie Johnson in particular was one of my first customers. And he was a very, not only understanding, like he's like thinking back, one of the best customers I could have had for my first customers because, I wasn't really sure what to expect. And I've had some other customers that are a little more demanding. And that works now. I understand, I understand what they're demanding. But at the time, if he was like, "Well, I need this for this," like right now, where am I going to put that? I don't know anything about this.
Yeah.
So it was good. And I mean, I got to work on your farm, which was, I wanted to go through at least a year of, like I go back to planting, in your head, like as a non-farmer, planting, oh, you just put the corn out there, it's easy.
Yeah.
We were doing kidney beans that year, and it was hot. It was like 99 degrees, and I did not realize that you have to fill those things every round. So I mean,
Oh, we didn't have a seed tender either.
no, we didn't have the seed tender. So I was running the Bobcat and I was bringing it back and forth. I was bringing pallets back and forth, but then we would almost get done with the pallet as soon as I brought the dang thing. So, it would basically it would take me about a round to run back and forth. And then I would help you load the seed. And then I'd take the old ones back, grab a new pallet. I mean, it was crazy. I was like, dude, this stinks. I am sweating in places I've never sweated before. And these big bags of, I'm like lifting like 50-pound bag. I think my arm stopped working for like a week and a half after that. If you don't know farming, what you do know is probably like conventional farming where like you spray, somebody said, you just spray all your problems away. You're fishing by, middle of July. With organic farming, there's just so many different things, right? Do I time weed or do I rotary hoe? Is it even the right time to time weed or rotary hoe? What variety did I pick earlier? And now I have to deal with those consequences because I thought maybe something else would happen. I had no idea those kinds of questions were really like a part of farming. I thought
All the if thens.
yeah, most jobs, we're doing supreme pizzas today. You're gonna need to get olives on it. There's no ifs, right? It's you just do the work. And I think that was probably the most fascinating for me was like, oh, how deep are you gonna do the tines? Are you gonna have tines like this? You're gonna have tines like this.
Push or pull the point.
Yeah, and that was like definitely eye opening. It really seemed like the Wild West, and it still does. And that's probably what made me like really enjoy farming is seeing this back and forth. Like, there's two guys that I think you said this. There's, you can have two very successful farms doing almost completely different things. And which one's right? All you can say is, I don't know.
Yeah. Both?
Yeah, exactly. And, yeah, it was definitely eye opening. That first year, it was a lot of work, but it was a lot of fun. Riding in the tractor, got to learn how to drive a tractor. That was pretty cool. That was definitely like 9/10 of my Snapchats that year. Hey, well, look at me. You guys used to make fun of my Honda Accord. Now look at me driving this big tractor. And just getting to do all the things. I went out knifing with you guys. Like, and here again, didn't know you were knifing at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
We did the
one step, and then
Yeah.
the combine where it takes a whole.
I remember we had a conversation about the JFK assassination while we were one stepping.
Yes.
And the
3 o'clock is where the conspiracy theories start coming out.
yeah. I don't know why that one just stuck. Like of all the conversations we've had.
Dude, I know exactly. Yeah, we were right outside the shop there.
Yeah, yep,
And,
we were.
Listen, I don't
And
know
then
what to say.
and then now the
I mean,
JFK files have been released
I'm not.
since,
Yeah.
right?
Well, that's
Like,
the thing is, I'm not willing to state my feelings for all you listeners out there because I don't want to be watched.
maybe let's get all you
But-
listener
but
out there.
Yeah. Hey, mom. That was a very fun 2-hour conversation.
Yeah. Well, you got time when you're going 2 miles an hour.
Well, that's 2 miles an hour. That was for me. I did not realize how slow you have to be with that bob combine. I mean, I think we went out there and you're like, yeah, I think I'm at 1.2. Like,
Yep. No, they suck.
yeah. Oh yeah, it's like, yeah, this 40 will take me a day and a half. Like,
Yeah. Well, the nice thing is your fields get really big.
yeah. Yeah, no, but that was I just kind of fell in love with it. Here again, I like putting puzzles together, particularly difficult puzzles that you have to take some away to, you get some pieces that aren't even part of the puzzle.
So you stepped out from the outside to the inside of the ag and the farmer community. What is unique from your perspective about this world?
Oh, what's not unique. I really think it's like a whole, I want to say the word ecosystem, but I know that's not right. Maybe its own little subculture that I don't think what we'll say the outside world really understands. There is definitely like a camaraderie amongst farmers, like a brotherhood almost.
Code of ethics?
Yeah. It's very salt of the earth. Everyone appreciates that everyone else is working really hard. There's no. I have yet to meet a whole lot of what we'll call lazy farmers. For the most part, pretty honest.
There's a couple of pricks, but I don't know
Yeah.
how many lazy ones.
No. Well, yeah, there's a couple bad apples, but for the most part, it's pretty easy. They're straight shooting. You don't have to do a whole lot of guesswork on, what they're thinking. But yeah, I mean, it's its own little world that I don't think I ever, as a kid from the suburbs would have ever interacted with had I not jumped into this, head first. So, it's definitely different from any other, whether it be my job at Kmart, frozen pizza manufacturer, grocery stores. It was all very different.
Yeah. So you come in, we're overselling pellets 1 year. There's selling cycles, right?
Yeah.
Which I think we're finally getting a grasp on 14 years in.
Yeah.
The closest we've ever been, because the cycles get they get disrupted when crop prices are high, so then you don't have the cycle.
Yep.
The peaks. People want it all year when crop prices are high, and then otherwise when they're low, everybody wants it in about 2 week window.
Well, not only that, but then you have bird flu, throwing a monkey wrench into things. Early springs, late springs. I got to cancel my 40 tons. I got to grow soybeans this year because I missed the window. Whatever. And crop prices. I have guys that, I was gonna do 300 acres of corn. Now I'm doing 0 because corn is in the tank, and I just don't want to. It doesn't work for me economically to even grow it. So sorry, those 600 tons you have, they're your problem now. But yeah, I mean, it was here again. It was a little shock to the system. This was one of the harder things I've ever had to do. I was relatively new. I think it was March or April. So we were getting pretty close to spring, which I
blissfully was unaware that was like the terminus. You know what I mean? Like, so,
That's a big word. I don't get it.
oh, yeah, well, like, that's the end. That,
Okay.
like spring is the end. Like,
Yeah.
if you didn't get manure by, let's say, uh, last week or first week of June, you don't need it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so, there's always like this big race to make sure you're right at zero that week, and, but anyway, that's for later once I kind of started understanding it. So, I started out, unfortunately, we were already pretty sure we were oversold. And then the pelletizer went down for like a couple weeks. And that was like, oh, well, now we definitely are. And so had to make some very tough decisions that I know those people probably don't look at it as anything good came out of, but I mean, they were rightfully pissed at me. We made promises to them and then we weren't keeping them. But having to do that and having to hear like how badly I was screwing up their livelihoods, really, that is still a part of me to this day. I knock on wood here. That's not wood.
That is.
Yeah. I haven't like cut anybody since because I understand you got to be on the money. Like, you've got to, these people are relying on this, like I'm a decent part of their livelihood and I got to get it right.
So accountability's got to go both ways, right? So how do you balance that when, say, I'm going to order 1,000 tons, and I'm like, oh, hey, Ron, actually I only need 500. Because now that puts you in a spot because
Yeah.
you're trying to get to 0 by June.
Yeah.
Because they're not moving again until what? October?
Well, that's
September, maybe?
September, it starts trickling out, with the guys getting
So-
rains off.
We've got like certain amount of capacity that we can handle. And if you're not at 0, we're going to be bound up in late August, which nobody wants it in late August because their crops are close to harvesting.
Yeah. And so that is, I would say the biggest thing with that is repeat offenders just go on like the pay you don't mind list. I understand crop plans change. I understand this. And for the most part, people aren't as egregious about that. Like early on, I had some, hey, I'm going to take 2,000 tons. Like literally a guy said 2,000 tons. I held it for him. And then all of a sudden he comes time to pick up, didn't answer my calls. That guy's on the do not call list. Or he's good. Yeah. But
Or he's prepaying for everything.
yes. And that's the whole thing is like, I want to be as understanding as possible, especially if I have an outlet that I can go to. It's really not that big a deal. I don't want to make it a big deal. I understand, but people who, and I think a lot of that behavior started because I didn't really realize that we had cut people the year before too. So like, I guess I shouldn't use names, but there's a certain farmer out in Nebraska who would say he wants 2,000 because he knew he'd probably only get 1,000.
Oh. Okay, so we had unintentionally trained them.
Yeah, to want or to ask for more, and like, because realistically here, there's a weird situation that I don't really think is applicable in this conversation, but it kind of the same thing happened. But for the most part, it might shift a little bit, but it's not nearly the ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm taking 3,000 tons. Oh,
I mean, there's
actually,
a
I only want
percentage,
100.
right, where we're like, okay, that's close enough, but like 50% is not close enough.
Yeah, exactly. And so, yeah, but there's some fudging around the edges, but for the most part, people are pretty honest about what they need. And I think it also, a lot of it was, I guess I understand fertility better. Like, we kind of did just kind of throw it to guys and like, go, I don't know, you figure out how much you need. I think James Shrepfer has helped me out a ton with at least giving people ballpark numbers if they don't want to take soil samples, which I would recommend you do. It's not that expensive, and you can really dial in what you need. But if you just want to do the ballpark answer, I got a ballpark answer for you. Whereas I think a lot of guys really didn't. I can't remember which episode. I listen to all these. I'm your biggest fan.
Oh, well, there's our listener.
In one of the episodes, you had said you didn't know what like NP and K was when you first started, and I think it might be hard to admit, but I think a lot of farmers are not far off from that. Especially guys who and I'm kind of putting people into boxes here, but people that just transition to organics. It seems like you kind of just listen to whatever the staff agronomist at your co-op said. You didn't need to think about NP and K because he's already got some kind of cookie cutter answer for you, and it's worked for you. So why would you even question it?
Yeah.
And then you get into this world and you have to start thinking about that stuff, and you got to start thinking about like long-term stuff, like FOS buildup. You try to grow corn, wheat, kidney beans, that's gonna FOS is gonna creep up on you. And I don't think that if you have too much FOS in the conventional world, well, you just don't put on DAP.
Doesn't work with manure.
Exactly. And so there's a lot more to consider. There's no co-op you can go to get just, based on, how much I want to sell to you, you need this. And so now you have to start thinking on your own. You have to kind of be your own agronomist. And I think a lot of guys want to do that. And then there's some that really don't, and so I think that a lot of that started out as like, well, what do I need? Like 5,000 tons or something. And then it's like, actually I only needed like 200. And so I guess that's where I was going with that.
Well, it all depends on what manure you're getting, right?
Exactly. And that even like, gosh, even I'm always learning things, even like I never really thought about ammonia versus nitrates, and like what kind of manure you're getting, but also what kind of nitrogen you're getting, because that can be a huge difference. Like if you were looking for a quick shot of N, the sloppiest, wettest, nastiest manure is actually going to be your best bet.
Because it's going to have the most ammonia.
Exactly. And I had never really thought of that. I always just looked at the nitrogen number and was like, all right, well, I'm getting, 50 pounds of N, and then,
If you want long, slow release, go with something with bedding or the driest manure you can find.
yeah. And so that was like very fascinating to me. And, I hope to one day be a poor man's James Shrevfer. And by poor man's, I mean, he also drinks a lot and forgets things.
Adding that to what James doesn't do. Yeah. Okay. Got it.
But no, he's the things that he's probably forgotten is more than I've ever remembered. It's very interesting. He should write a book.
Probably a few.
More than likely. Yeah. Unless it's, the Lord of the Rings trilogy in one book.
So what then, I mean, your first day actually was our first field day.
Yeah.
Which was actually a brainchild of Tyler's.
He's a smart guy. It was, I distinctly remember Charlie, and I think you know why. And he was talking to James, and it was just, well, even like all the equipment, you don't ever see tine weeders if you don't know what organic farming is. Even like cultivators. I mean, basically, I knew what like a digger was, and a planter. Yeah, and it's like, you gotta dig up the stuff.
Go do it.
Yeah, just gotta dig it up. I think it's a law or something. Like, and so. That was a very cool day. Unfortunately, it rained. I didn't really know what I was doing there. I was the taxi cab driver for a while. Got to meet Mark's parents. I do remember that too, and I think you know why. But no, it was such an eye-opening experience, and I actually that was like the day, because if you remember correctly, I was going back to college. Like I literally started college that day. So I had to
Yeah.
go run home
Well,
and
you were living out in North Dakota too, so
Yeah.
you took vacation from work to come
yeah,
and
to
work.
come in. Yeah. I won and here again, I didn't know what to expect. I remember I thought maybe we'd be able to get some shooting in. I brought my guns, but not realizing how big of an event it was going to be. But
Well, the first one was what, 75 people?
yeah, which
Yeah.
was a decent show up. I mean, I think we just posted on Facebook. Like I don't remember there being a whole lot
Yeah.
of promotional stuff. It definitely wasn't like it was just the stuff that we were selling.
Einbach.
Yeah. It didn't morph into the show that it would soon enough become. Year 3, I think, was like when we started inviting other companies, and that was like what I would say when it at least spiritually became FIE. It wasn't really
Yeah.
about us. We had Treffler there, we had Einbach, we had Hotzenbickler. That was the year of the Acroflow. We had a couple burners. We had some kind of tillage machine too. I can't remember.
Yeah, we had the Lemkin.
We had the Lemkin there, yeah. And unfortunately, it rained like a son of a gun. Actually, I mean, it was for how bad the weather was. It wasn't crazy terrible, or maybe that's just what I tell myself.
We need to start tracking the weather on the third Thursday now, because 4 out of 5 years we had significant rains,
Yes.
and I am pretty sure for however long we are not going to have a field day, it will be forever dry.
Yeah, and sunny, beautiful.
Yep.
Like, let's say 78 degrees, slight wind.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because and that year in particular, it poured. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
it poured we were trying to get people to talk about their thing, but no one could hear them because it was just pouring on those tents.
Yeah.
And then
Rain's coming down in between.
Yeah,
all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was. I mean, that was the most rain I'd ever seen. I think because that was when we had Jeremy, Kansas Jeremy. Shout out Kansas Jeremy. And he had to drive that.
The lull.
Yeah.
That was after the event.
Yes.
'Cause we had rain in the morning, right after we tine weeded. We had this whole itinerary, right?
Yep. And it basically
was
shrank down into this. Yes.
All right, let's go out in the field. Let's do what we can, and then during that first morning rain,
Yep.
we all
talked about
we all
stuff.
talked about, and then ate lunch, and then because we had tine weeded, the ground was open,
Yeah.
and we could go out there and
We went in there and flame weeded. I remember that. Did we
did
we
cultivation
do it?
too.
Oh, we did.
We snuck all of it in, and
Yeah.
then the event ended very suddenly.
Yes, when all of a sudden it poured even harder
Yeah.
somehow. But yeah, I remember Kansas Jeremy. He had to drive that. God, what's the word I'm thinking of?
Lull.
The lull. Yeah. It was only what,
A
2
mile.
miles? Yeah. And he came into my house. He was staying with me at the time. And he came in. I mean, soaked. That guy. I had just got my dog, and I think my dog he was doing this and drinking, and my dog could drink water for a month. It was rough. Then that was year 3. Year 3, that was year 4. Year 4 felt really good. Year 4, we had more equipment than we knew what to shake a stick at. We had sponsors. We had specifically designed places to go with all of this stuff. Organizing it was a struggle, but it was so much fun to watch it all come together. We definitely here again rained. But I mean, you know what? I'll say this. For instance, that the Acroflow looked good in that wet spot that we had down there, and I think a lot of guys are impressed with that. There was something to say about it wasn't ideal conditions, but that's what some guys deal with. And do you go or do you not go? Well, these cultivators are going to tell you whether you can go or not.
Yeah.
It was a good show. I think there was a little complaints about where the vendors were. We could there's always something you can do better on.
We didn't give enough time for vendors.
Yes. Yep. And so year 5 was, I would say, a very big achievement in my personal opinion. it went really well. Didn't we have like over like 300 people or
We had
something like
425
that? Yeah.
people or 450 people.
Yeah, it
something
was.
like
I
that.
mean, people, and here again, rained. So we went in. We couldn't do a whole lot of the stuff we had to do prep, or the day before that we had planned that we were going to do. So we got all. I mean, I think we
Yeah,
all
what,
left
5
at
in the
like.
morning?
Yeah, we left at midnight and got all, and then went back out at 5. It was unclear whether we were going to go or not. And there was all this doubt. And I remember, we were rushing to get the tents going. We put the tents like in the area.
I remember telling you that morning, like, Ron, all these people can set up tents. You need to write the itinerary for how
Yes.
today is gonna
Yeah,
work.
and I
And you
hated you
you
for
were
it.
struggling with
Yes.
that.
But no, we wrote it, and gosh, like when it finally like came together, we had the whole bus thing.
Oh yeah, we bussed
We
people.
bust
from
people
school.
because it was too wet to have people park in the fields. And like just when everyone started coming, and we were all kind of just like watching stuff. There was like I think the bus was starting to slip or something. There was like a little
Bus got
issues.
stuck once.
Yeah, bus got stuck. But God, it worked. I just like finally like I went and checked on Kate, and that was like my last little like, all right, everything's rolling good. And we didn't do any demos until like noon.
No, it was
after
the
lunch.
afternoon, yeah.
And when I looked over there, I saw everyone mingling. In particular, there was a guy from Utah talking to a guy from South Dakota. I loved seeing that, like, all of these people, like, came together, and they're now, like, sharing ideas with vendors that, like, we also made it a point to not have fairy dust. Or,
Yeah, no, we worked very hard on bringing value.
yeah.
That was our focus.
And it was really cool to see like that. It came together so well. That was a hell of a send off for FIE. I'm hoping it comes back.
Probably about 2 years. I don't know if it'll be named FIE. I don't know the angle that we're gonna take, but it's going to be this. It's gonna rhyme
Yeah.
a lot. I don't know that we'll focus 100% on organics, but it will be probably 60%.
Well, I mean, I wonder honestly how long it's going to take until organics and conventional blends at least a little bit.
The methodology of farming.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I think, and that will be our point, is to create that area to start blending. Like, hey, let's use manure. Let's understand our soil.
Yeah. Or I mean, even just weed control. I mean, there's more and more guys out in eastern Colorado, and these are just folks that I've talked to. I'm sure there's more. Southern Nebraska, Kansas, that are having a hard time controlling weeds.
Yeah.
Even with, I mean, there's, forgive me, I don't remember the weed because we don't have it up here.
Tumbleweed, right?
It's
It's a tumbleweed, or is
Yeah.
it Palmer amaranth?
no, I know Palmer amaranth, and that is a struggle. No,
There's a
but-
fancy name for tumbleweed. Though.
Maybe that's what it is. But anyways, I mean, you can sit and dump Roundup on it, and it's not doing anything.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't think they're quite there yet, but I've had a lot of guys call and ask.
I had a guy who called me yesterday to custom cultivate 150 acres in Cosmos because the water hemp is
It's out of control.
not responding. So that is interesting. I don't know if that's what the wave is going to be or not. I can't decide. I was pretty convinced a while ago that they're going to go back to cultivators, but I think the biggest hurdle is they're used to going 120 feet wide, 12 miles an hour.
For sure.
And you're not doing that. You're going maybe 6 miles an hour
on a good day.
at
Yeah.
40 to 60 feet.
Yeah. And that's, I don't know if it's going to be up to. Like,
And tillage is the devil
What would they do?
for other options.
Yeah.
I don't know. Farmers are pretty creative. So I'm not sure what they'll do. And it's every operation again is different. My neighbors just down the road here have extremely clean fields, but they are minimalist when it comes to herbicides, right? Where I think a lot of people played the insurance game of like, hey, if 1 gallon's good, 2 is better.
Yeah.
And then didn't take care of escapes. And I watched these guys ride on a gator in their soybeans, like at the headlands of their soybeans, and spray anything that's there in July or August.
Yeah.
so there's no escapes. So I think it really varies on the farm and what their practice is, or maybe they inherited land
Yeah.
or picked up new land that has this problem. So I don't know. I think what are they going to be willing to sacrifice? Are they going to say, yes, I can go cultivate? Or are they going to try about 1,000 other things and spend a lot more money and time trying to do things more efficiently? Maybe with some success or not. You know, the laser weeder's out there,
Oh yeah.
but,
Yeah.
and it's incredible for what it can do, but
Pretty cost prohibitive.
it's over $1 million and it
Yeah.
covers, I don't remember if it's 8 acres an hour.
That's what I was gonna say. I mean, you'd have to have that. You'd have to have round the clock guys. They'd have to be pretty cheap. And then like even then you'd probably have to get two for even like a. And I don't even know, can the laser weeder operate literally 24/7?
Yeah, I mean, it can operate, especially if you can put it on an autonomous tractor,
I suppose.
right?
Yeah.
But if you could do that, then maybe you're onto something. But still, the cost of that many dollars, that you can buy the nicest sprayer out there
Yeah.
and a whole lot of chemical.
Well, at that point, I mean, at $1 million, I mean, you can buy those
Yeah.
sprayers that like have the eyes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's where, because like, yeah, I'm sure you would just have it spray some kind of like literal acid to like if it can truly hit that dime, you could. There's like alcohol will always kill bacteria or something,
Yeah.
So I'm sure there's something that will always kill.
And that's what I mean. Like, farmers are probably the most resourceful people out there for problem solving and like finding a way. So what that will look like, I'm not sure. But I do think that there are going to be people who say, you know what? I know what I can do with the cultivator. And they're getting a lot more precise now. I mean, cultivators now have section control. They have camera guidance. There's finger weeders, cutaway discs. I mean, there's all these things that are evolving, and we'll see where it goes.
Well, I think as organics, I mean, it's hard to believe that organics is like I hear a lot of folks that say you've already captured the market. Like the market isn't going to grow much more than this. But then you go into like Costco and
Projections would say differently.
yeah, I mean, there's more organic things ever, and I think that as there's more money gets put into it, there's going to be more innovate. Like it's just inevitable. So who knows what they're going to come up with, down the line. I mean, the laser weeder's already pretty crazy. I mean, and even if you get some like organic non-selective herbicide that's a huge game changer.
So Verdant has a new spot and see sprayer that works very, very well. A friend of mine is growing onions this year, and it's like 3 rows.
like,
10
like 10 inches apart, and then like 30 inches. And then,
No, yeah, actually.
yeah.
So there's like a 10-inch wide row. So they're 3 rows, 3 inches apart, and 3.33 probably, if we're gonna say 10 inches.
Yeah.
That you should have that math. But he hasn't had to cultivate yet. It just
That's crazy.
so.
Actually, that's
And they're organic.
well, and that's like the craziest. I do think that like those new innovations will, I mean, just lead to so much more. And that's why I really like being a part of CFS is I do think that there's going to be like I don't know if you want to say it cheesy, a food revolution. Like right now, most vegetables are grown in like Southern California and like Arizona because they don't have to worry about disease pressure. There's less, they can control the water. And like as you get, as you can do those things better and organically, it can start coming out of those places and going like everywhere, and I think that'll be pretty interesting. I like the idea of being a part of feeding the world. I think it's feeding the world healthier,
we did, I mean, you've kind of been the champion of this, you know, like we did, like, we focused so much on like just food production. Because I mean, it wasn't that long ago that food scarcity, I mean, there was a famine in Russia that killed millions in 1922. That wasn't that long ago, 100 years.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, there's still places in the world where food scarcity is around. You know, I mean, you know, farming is unfortunately one of the last things that America really does anymore. You know, I mean, and I I'd like to see us be like the world's largest food producer, exporting food for the entire world, and healthy food.
So manure, I think, is a large component of that, but I'm kind of curious what you've learned about manure.
Oh man, I know more about manure than I think anyone ever should.
So when somebody says you don't know jack shit, you can tell them
Oh,
otherwise.
I'm full of shit.
Yeah, maybe not Jack's brother, but I know.
Yeah, I talk shit all day. And so manure, I mean, I guess I don't even know where to start. You know, there's different, not all manure is made the same. Not even all animal, like of the same animal manure is the same. You can get chicken manure that is,
The only thing consistent about manure is
it's inconsistent. And, you know, you can get the stuff that's sloppy, wet, nasty garbage. You can get the driest, most beautiful pile of manure that, I mean, rivals. You know, I mean, we just had a sample that was 130 pounds of N per ton. 130. That's a new personal record. And
did that get brought to my farm?
absolutely, yeah.
Not.
But you know, like that's the stuff that is really fascinating to me. And then it's like, you know, what's in it? It has all 13 essential plant nutrients. If I wanted to, I probably could name them.
But you don't want to.
But I don't want to. Yeah, that's for the Patreon members. But anyways, you know, you know, sorry, I'm blanking now.
So what has been some of the most interesting things you've learned?
You got incorporated fast. Did not know that. You know, people who think that they can just kind of put it on and hope. It can burn if you want to put it on like alfalfa or something. Probably gonna want to do pellets.
Why? What is that? What changes?
The nitrates versus ammonia.
Okay.
And then I don't understand why, but also pellets are a little more available than raw manure.
Yeah, we haven't fully understood that yet.
But it seems to be, I don't know if it's just because it's like what we'll call partially digested because of like the heat. That would be my guess, but I have
Of processing it.
yeah. But you know, usually, let's say you're talking about like Litchfield manure, which is like our kind of easiest one because it is relatively the most consistent. You know, let's say 80 pounds of N. You know, if you wanted to do 3 tons of the acre for 200 bushel corn, it'll get you there. You know, and you'll have enough P and K to grow a decent soybean crop the following year. You know, and here again, everything is soil sampling. Take soil samples.
Get a baseline.
Get a baseline. Understand what's already in your ground. You could be saving so much more money and not even realize it.
Here's an interesting one. So I picked up a piece of ground this spring, 40 acres that had been in cow pasture or hay for 6 years. 8 years. And I have very low phosphorus
How? With all that?
because they took off so much. Well, and it was conventional before that.
Interesting.
So-
I would have guessed because it's cow pasture that they'd all be pooping.
Well,
on
they're
it.
only recycling. They're not
You know
adding.
what? That's fair. Yeah.
So,
Low phos, huh? Oh,
yeah, so I got to get some pellets out there.
you're so lucky. Like,
Yeah. And that is one thing. I mean, going into this, I was like, oh, we have the silver bullet. And then the more I grew into it, it was like, well, no, we actually have a problem coming if we only use chicken manure moving forward. Because we're over applying phosphorus every year.
Yep. If you're not gonna have soybeans in the rotation, you better think about it. I mean, it's a good product, but everything has its downsides. And so, yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting. So, what are you going to do for that field?
I'll have to put pellets down
Yeah.
and just cultivate them in. So,
But you are right. I mean, there's a reason why they usually recommend soybeans. Nice, because even like kidney beans, from what I understand, don't take nearly as much as like soybeans.
for phosphorus?
Yeah.
Okay. I should know more about that. I don't. But and the nice thing is you can now use AI to understand your uptake needs, right?
Yeah.
For that. But what have been some of like we'll call them crazy success stories, right? Where you sell them and they call you back.
Oh, I mean, here, guy, I want to say names, but I probably shouldn't just put out there.
Yeah.
But I mean, like,
So Farmer Bob.
yeah, Farmer Bob, he's up in Saskatchewan. I mean, he was happy with 40 bushel loads. I mean, now he's more than doubled that.
Okay.
And it's all thanks to the pellets. I mean, like, that's the only thing he changed. He's probably going to buy from me the rest of his life. And even like, I think it was probably the most, was it like 3 years ago, 2020, was it 2022 that all of a sudden fertilizer prices skyrocketed?
Ukraine war. 21, 22, somewhere in there. 22.
Yeah, 22. Fertilizer prices skyrocketed. That was probably the first time I'd really gotten a lot of phone calls. I had just taken over Litchfield, conventional guy I'd talked to. He just wanted to not pay the co-op crazy amounts of money. So he put down 1 ton of the acre and then he kind of filled it in with, I think it was urea. He said that was the best yield of his life.
Really?
Yeah, like over 210, which he was used to getting around 200. And the only thing I can think of is, like, he had said that he hadn't used the farm hadn't had manure for over 40 years. And the increased microbial activity, the organic matter, but there's something to say, I mean, not to mention all the micros, the calcium, the sulfur, the copper, the manganese, molybdenum, my favorite. And so,
That probably does something super important, right?
oh, it helps it survive. Yeah.
And thrive.
Yeah. It's good for, like
Stuff.
how green it is. Yeah. Yeah. It's good for how the way it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's good stuff. I mean, I'm trying to think of anyone who's bought it, used it correctly, and then called me up and said they had a bad experience. I mean, even just in the last few years, we were let's say 90% organic. Now we're a lot closer to like 60-40 organic conventional. Because we've got a lot of conventional guys that are like, oh, like, here
Stuff
again,
works.
yeah, the stuff works. I think it's too bad that it's microbiology, because microbiology, like, studies are always fraught with, they're just too small for us to be able to understand, and sometimes they work together in ways that we don't understand. You can identify all these little E. coli, bacillus, and then it's whatever. You can have a billion of them, but you don't understand what any of them necessarily do. And even this one alone doesn't do anything, but this one paired with this one does something. And so I don't know.
Kind of like the wider you open the box, the less you know.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. And I don't know if we'll ever be able to, like, truly understand why it's important, other than, but that is kind of life, right?
100%.
Yeah, I mean, like, you don't understand everything. You try to, but
And then the more you dig into it, the more
the more
confusing
you
it
don't
is.
understand it.
Yeah.
And it what you need is to just kind of have faith.
Yeah.
And I've kind of learned through my years is sometimes like I always wanted to be a young man chasing like this like ungettable thing of like, well, I need to know everything before I can make a decision. And sometimes you just gotta go with what you know and make a decision. And I think that is harder for some people than others to like just be able to be okay with.
Yeah.
Farming has taught me that. I have never had less control of something very important, like rain.
Okay, but don't you think that is one of the reasons that the community is the way it is? I mean, think of all these people. Let's pick like a youth sports culture. How do they handle a rain event?
Yeah.
Not very well.
No.
Like you had to cut Johnny's game down to 3 innings, and we would have had that. That's not acceptable.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, well, try cutting down 200 acres of hay, and then rain comes up.
Yeah. Or I mean.
And that's your livelihood. It's not just a fun
Yeah, it's just
game.
not just a child's game. I mean, well, look at James. I mean, had the world's greatest corn coming up, and then the Great White Combine comes by and just destroys everything. And I mean, but that's that's probably that is a huge difference between farming and most other industries. Because even like you can kind of work your way around things that you can't control, like weather, but like like when I was at grocery store, if I didn't have like let's say something I really needed, I could go get it. Like I was in my power. You can't go get rain.
Yeah.
And I think that is a
Can't
huge difference.
stop hail.
Yeah, I think that is a gigantic difference in like the outlook of farmers in particular. I would say like agriculture people in general. Even if you're not a farmer and you work in the industry, is it really does humble you, and it really does show you that like you can do everything right and still not have it work out, or you can do a lot of things wrong and you just got lucky.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, just the idea of control. I think a lot of people have. I mean, like look at what we have controlled. Like food isn't really an issue anymore. Getting long distances isn't an issue anymore. Getting things from long distances is not an issue anymore. So I think people kind of have this like air of like the current civilization is basically invincible, when you have like a lot of other people that are like, no, weather still affects things, different things way out of your control can still have major consequences on you. And it changes your mindset.
Yeah. Okay, so now you came in, you organized, kind of set up some, but now we fast forward to today, and you have a team of people you're working with. It's not the Ronnie show.
Yep. Shout out Ryan and Caleb and Dave.
How has that been, and how does that, I mean, what are the challenges and rewards to that, right? Because, I mean, everything's got upside and downside.
Oh yeah, I mean, I had gotten really used to kind of being, a team of one, so like, I'd say the biggest thing is I always knew what the master plan was up here. I didn't really need to explain it to people. I didn't need to like keep records of what I'm doing. I always had these systems. It's like, all right, I know this guy's gonna pick up at this time, so I'm not super worried. Like, hey, barn's filling up. I know that it's fine. I got this guy coming up in like 2 weeks. We'll make it. These people can now start taking raw manure at this time, so I'm gonna sell to this guy, and then I'm gonna push this other guy back. There's the way you make things run. Now I have 2 people that are like, well, what the heck are you thinking here, guy? And it's like, well, don't ask me that. I haven't planned. Like, you know,
Yeah.
like, and so
Oh, wait.
explaining myself is definitely like a new struggle. Or even like, you know, we've had to, and to be honest with you, being accountable, you know, when you do make mistakes, it's nice that you're the only guy around to, and bad. Like, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
now it affects other people. And you know, they have their own sales and you have to make it work with who they talk to.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just my, you know, I got,
Yep.
and all of a sudden it's a team train. Um, and it really helps that they both rule. I mean, and we have great communication. You know, Ryan just like 2 months, and he really settled in very easy. And it does help that we're all close together. We all, I would say, at the very least, are like work friends. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll be best mans at each other's weddings, but
Well, he's already married, so
that's fair. Bar mitzvah. Is there a best man for a bar mitzvah?
we could like make up their own rules.
Yeah,
That's
true,
fine.
True, it's fine. But yeah, I mean, like we all work really well together, and so you know we've invented the secret sheet, which is only secret because Dave thought it was a secret. Like, and by secret I mean like we probably told him about it, he just didn't hear us.
Yeah.
You guys never talked about how deaf he was that entire time. I'm surprised you didn't say "huh" the entire time. Huh? Huh? But but anyways, he, you know, like Dave is a good, he knows when to pop in and when to let us do our thing. We have a really good back and forth, me and him. I mean, I love Dave. Dave is in my, well, gosh, see, that's even hard to say. He's in the top 20 picks of you've always done a very good job at hiring. I will say that.
Thank you.
Al, me, Dave. I mean, I guess in a roundabout way, everybody in the office basically. And so I mean, like we've got a pretty synergistic group of folks. You know, we're definitely in the building phase, and it's, we know where we're going, but we're not exactly sure how to get there. So it's a little bit of trial and error. We're also outgrowing a lot of things that we like relied upon previously, and so it's like, all right, how do we rebuild this better? So there's definitely some friction.
Well, I think too, what we changed is like all the systems we used to be kind of delivered to some degree, or it was like you operating on your own. So like you don't need to build a system that works for a group.
Multiple people, yeah.
And now it's like, okay, how are we building a system that we can do this in Mississippi
Yeah.
that still works, right? So we don't know how to do that, and that's okay. But you just figure it out, right? You're going to build something that breaks, and I'm less concerned if it breaks sooner than later because you get too comfortable later.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, and I agree with you. And then it's just a matter of coming together and coming up with, you know, like what, I think eventually it'll have to be something that's like almost tailored to us that maybe we don't have the capacity to do ourselves. Like we do have like a lot of big different sheets, but they all serve a purpose, and they're all like, trust me, the last thing that I want is another thing that doesn't make any sense to use. So I mean, we have it trimmed down as best we can. It'd be nice if there was just a little more cohesiveness between the different systems. And so that does make
On that
things,
front, we're talking about technology, like probably building our own.
yeah,
Just that covers everything.
Yeah.
That's a pretty massive investment, but
exactly. But hopefully, I think we've got decent, I don't know if you want to call them blueprints on what we need. It's just a matter of putting it all together. I think we have all the ingredients. We just got to put it in a bowl and make it a cake. And so it's been very nice. Like, you know, like Kayla, for instance, like when we hired her, we didn't know that she was like the computer whiz that she claims she's not. But I mean, she definitely has, she understands them really well. And, you know, like that,
has been such a huge boon to us because, before it was James who already had 14 hats on. And she's done a wonderful job of being able to make the tweaks that we've always thought that we've needed for things to kind of like keep riding. You make something, but it almost never stays the way you originally made it.
Correct. And that's normal. That's evolution, right? The Model T is not around anymore.
Exactly. And it's been fun. It's been trying, but it's been fun. I think these last 2 years definitely were probably the hardest. Long time, or I don't know, maybe we want to call it Brian, or should I say his name? No? Okay. A long time former
Sales guy.
employee quit. He'd been there the entire time I'd been there. He really held down raw manure. He knew all the guys. He knew this. He knew that. And so it was kind of like, it was definitely almost like it was my first day again. There's a lot of different things to learn about raw manure. It definitely has to go out faster. The consistency changes quite a bit compared to pellets. And I had already been running Litchfield, so it wasn't like it was completely brand new. But understanding the specific barns were pretty difficult. And it's kind of a different clientele. There's different rules on where you can pilot and all this other stuff. So it was definitely a new and interesting, and I mean, to be honest with you, tough journey. It was nice when we added Kayla, and it was really nice when we added Ryan, because I do think at some point I probably would have burnt out.
Yeah. And I mean, and then there's other products too, like eggshells that we've started selling, and and a lot more manure, not just
Not just chicken anymore.
not just chicken, it's turkey,
and
actually pig compost.
pig compost. It'll even like AI compost. We've kind of got quite a smorgasbord of products now, and it's only going to get bigger. And I'm actually really excited, or I don't even know if we can talk about this, but like liquid products. Just it opens up a whole new world that I don't know about. I don't know anything about liquid and I mean, whether we do liquid and furrow or it's like through a pivot. I don't know anything about that. But you go out to western Nebraska, western Kansas, Oklahoma, eastern Colorado. I mean, it's all pivots. I mean, all you do is just see circles. When you're flying over there. Or even like I remember we were driving from Arizona to Minnesota, and you hit Oklahoma, and it's just corn and pivots. And then you find this little dilapidated town with a gigantic elevator, and then it's another 10, 15, 20 miles of pivots with massive corn. And I think that it's going to be really cool to work with those folks. And so that'll be a whole new way of farming that I'm not aware of.
Yeah, we have a lot to learn in that area. Just kind of waiting to see, like, things are starting to get assembled. It's still a little ways out. A lot we don't know with that.
Yeah.
But there'll be a lot of growth coming there.
It's fun to think about the future.
Sometimes. It is 100%.
And it'll be, God, I'm really excited about what I think it'll do. You know what I mean?
For
like just
changing the way people see fertilizer and food, and I always wanted to do, I'd say my goal in life was to make a positive contribution to the world. And I think we could definitely do that here. And that's what's kind of 100% agree.
kept me here. Oh yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that kept me here. But like even like when I was younger, I wanted to join the Peace Corps. They told me I wasn't smart enough. Like what? Like, well, no, you have to have like a 4-year degree. Well, like I guess they do like pay it off and but I was like, well, come on, I just want to go do cool stuff. Do nice stuff for people in like Sudan or something. And then I was going to be a teacher because I thought that I mean, there are some definitely valuable lessons you can learn in history if you're willing to actually listen. And so I thought like being a teacher, being a mentor would be like a cool thing. I did grocery was never grocery was more about wanting to find something that I could support my family on. You know, there's something to say about like doing good by your community and you know by your grocery store. And I mean, shoot, I used to unlock. You know, like there'd be like an old lady who left her keys in the car. You know how many times I'm a really good like door unlocker.
Yeah.
Because you know old people leave their keys in there. I always enjoy that kind of stuff. You
Yeah.
know, when you can go the extra mile.
Yeah.
And you know, and then like now CFS, it was definitely my biggest gamble that I've ever probably done in my life that I can think of. Like you know, I knew you basically. That was like it. Like I just knew you. You said you'd think I'd do great here, and usually I don't listen to those kinds of things. And it was pretty out of character for me to just be like, you know what, yes.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I did.
Good.
And you know, it's been 6 years now. I'm hoping it's 46. In 40 short years. Actually,
No, keep growing, and it will be.
Yeah.
We got a lot of opportunity coming up. So we should probably wrap this up. But what is something that you want to tell your customers, clients? I mean, what is it that? Shit, I need to word this right. What is something you want people who work with you, that you deal with, to know about you, and what a good working partnership looks like to you?
I need to know more about your farm before I can help you out with your farm. You know, help me help you kind of a situation. I genuinely really like helping people. I love hearing, oh, we had 250 bushel corn, or that's a little ridiculous, but you know, I love hearing that they had some phenomenal success. I don't like, I will go out of my way to tell people like if what I'm selling is not right for you. I don't want to do that because I don't want the phone call later, and because I genuinely wouldn't be. It hurts my heart. Even like we'll have, you know, every business you'll have a disagreement with a person, and maybe he's a little right, maybe I'm a little right. You know, that still hurts my heart. I don't know how to put it other than that. It bothers me. I want to have happy customers because that makes me happy. You know, very quickly, I told you. I said, I am not going to be a used car salesman. If that's what this is like a part of, I want nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
And thankfully we're not. But I guess the other thing is I hate haggling. I promise you I'm giving you my best price. Please don't try to haggle with me.
I am also not a negotiator, so I can sympathize with you. Yeah, no, I mean, pricing we're subject to the markets, right? I mean, our price is tied to fertilizer markets, so they're going to go up and down, and that's...
It is what it is.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, I promise you I'm doing everything I can for you. I like long-term relationships rather than short-term gain.
Transactional.
Yeah. I think that's...
All right. Well, hey, thanks for coming on today. It was great having you.
This was fun.